everybody, and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. And it's a recorded show, this the day after we have got beat at home by Leicester City 2-1. All hell has broken loose overnight about the team that Ole started, and people going mad, Liverpool fans in particular, about the team that he selected. I've even heard a West Ham fan this morning on TalkSport saying how much he's damaged their chances. Even when I say even, West Ham, no disrespect meant to West Ham, but West Ham still harbouring hopes, and still will be, of getting Champions League football. So what could Ole have done? It really was a tricky situation for him. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place, really. Obviously, we played on Thursday night, we played on Sunday against Villa, and then there's a game Tuesday, which we obviously played last night, got beat by Leicester, and a game Thursday against Liverpool. So 5 games in 7 days and 3 games in 5 days. The 3 league games in 5 days. Obviously, all the players can't play all the games. He wanted to get through on Thursday night. He had to play a decent team on Thursday night, obviously, to get through to the Europa League final, and then the Villa game on the Sunday. At that stage, you've got to think about it that we're already, we're in the flow of playing Sunday, Thursday. So there was no harm in playing a strong team against Villa, and also giving us that confirmed our place in the top 4, winning that game. So he wanted to win that game at Villa, but it was in the natural flow of the fixture list, if you follow what I mean. We've been playing Thursdays and Sundays. So it's these 2 games this week that, 2 games in 1 week are the 2 games that you've got to think about and consider how you're going to field your team and what you're going to do. I was a bit surprised myself. I mean, I named the team on my show a few days ago that I thought he might, or 2 or 3 days ago, that I thought he might have gone with, that included about 6 players in it that played on Sunday. I thought he'd have gone stronger in the back 4, and really did. Personally, I wanted to see us try and win these 2 games, to try and put a little bit of pressure on City. Look, there's virtually no chance, but you've got to give yourself, in my opinion, you need to try and hang on to the coattails as long as you can, just in case something crazy happens. We'll never know now. I mean, even if City lose some games now, that'll be because they're resting players now that it's done with. So we will never know now. But had we managed to beat Leicester, and had we managed to beat Liverpool, we'll never know what would have happened on Friday night. Probably City still would have gone there and won, but with a little bit of pressure on them, you just never know, and that might have took it another step, another day nearer towards the end of the season without the title being in the bag. But with United losing last night, that handed the title to City overnight, and they've been worthy champions. They're a really good team, and they've deserved their title victory. But we could have made it a little bit trickier for them. I think we could have done. Now then, the difficulty is getting back to Ole and his team selection. You couldn't play the full-strength team Sunday. Let's forget Thursday. You couldn't play the full-strength team in 3 league games Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. You just can't do that. That's a fact. So could he have played sort of a half-strength team against Leicester, and then sort of a half-strength team against Liverpool? He played virtually a full-strength team, or what he thought was his full-strength team, on Sunday. Could he have played... Don't forget Mason Greenwood, by the way. Mason Greenwood played on Thursday against Roma. He started on Sunday against Villa, and he started on Tuesday against Leicester. He started 3 games. Is that in 6 days? That's 3 games in 6 days. So, now I know Mason Greenwood's only 19, but these are professional athletes. They're as fit as a fiddle, and I'm sure 1 or 2 of them, maybe the older players, are not fit enough to play, 2 games in 3 days or 3 games in 5 days. But surely Mason Greenwood is not the only one. Surely he's not the only one who's fit enough to play 3 games in 5 days, which he's just done. Or certainly 1 or 2 of the players who did, like, for example, against Roma, Scott McTominay didn't play. So if Scott McTominay would have played last night, it would have been his 2nd game in 3 days, but it wouldn't have been his 3rd game in 5 days, as it was, as it was for Mason. So don't tell me, because I'm just not having it, that Mason is the only player who's fit enough to play, even though he's young and 19, to play 3 games in 5 days, or definitely 2 games in 4 days, so we could have gone stronger. But then that might have affected his team selection on Thursday. But surely some of the players who were left out on the Tuesday night could then play Thursday. He could have played out a half-strength team in both games. Then what effect would that have? Don't forget, Leicester are a really good side. Don't make the mistake of thinking if we pick a particularly strong team that we're going to win these games. You know, Leicester City and Liverpool are 2 of the best teams in the Premier League, and we could field the games could be a week apart, and we could play a full-strength team in both games, and there's no guarantee that we're going to win either of those games. These are not games, these games are not gimmies. You know, Leicester are battling they're in the FA Cup final and they're desperate to stay in the top 4. They fielded as strong a team as he could field last night. Johnny Evans was missing, he was injured at the weekend. He might have been close to fitness, maybe they're going to keep him fit for the cup final. But if there's one player who was left out maybe to keep him fit for the cup final, it was Johnny Evans. But he was injured at the weekend, so maybe he wasn't fit anyway. So Leicester's team was as strong as it could possibly be, really. And it was never going to be a walkover. It's the 3rd time we've played them this season. We've drawn with them in the league, and we've got beat by them in the FA Cup 3-1. So we've now played them 3 times and not beaten them once. So don't think, and fans of other clubs should not be thinking, if we'd have played, obviously you get a better chance, but if we'd have played a full-strength team, there's no guarantees we would have won that game. Of course, you know, there's no guarantee of anything, but we may have drawn it. If we'd have drawn it, it's still 2 points off Leicester's tally, by the way. So even a draw would have been no good for us, but for the opposition fans who were moaning about it, a draw would have been fantastic for them, because obviously it's 2 points less for Leicester. So if he'd have played a half-strength team against Leicester, and then some of the players who played against Leicester can play against Liverpool, but some can't, and then obviously the other full-strength players, you know, the 5 or 6 first-team choice players that you've left out of that game can then come in to the second game, and maybe 2 or 3 of them can play both games. Do you know where I'm coming from? We could have rested, say, 5 first-choice regulars against Leicester, and those 5 can then play against Liverpool. Don't count your keeper. Your keeper can play every day, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter which keeper plays. We're looking at 10 players here, 10 outfield players. So 5 players could have started against Leicester who start regularly, and then 5 different players who start regularly. And we've probably got 11 or 12, by the way, who you could count who start regularly. You know, Cavani doesn't always start, even though he's in the team. Even Pogba doesn't start every game, even though he starts a lot of games. So you could probably count 12. You could probably count 12 players. In fact, let's go through it. Maguire's injured. You can't help being injured. If you're injured, you're injured. But Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Luke Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes and Pogba. Those players all play regularly. There's 9 players. Obviously, Maguire's injured. You can't help that. You know, Matic gets plenty of game time. Who did I say up top there? Cavani, Rashford and Greenwood. Obviously, Martial's injured. Obviously, Dan James is injured. But there's 9 players there. Matic gets plenty of game time anyway, so you could put Matic into there. There's 10 players who all get plenty of game time. Then you've got 2 or 3 injured ones who do play a lot. Maguire, Martial, Dan James, all get plenty of game time. They're all out injured. So there's 10 players there who get plenty of game time. 5 could have played against Leicester. 5 could have played against Liverpool. But of the 5 who played against Leicester, at least two, if not 3, could also play against Liverpool. Like I've just said, Mason Greenwood's just played twice in 5 days, 3 times in 5 days, twice in 3 days. So some of those players who have played against Leicester could also play against Liverpool, along with the 5 who were rested. And you're not that far from full strength then. You're really not that far from full strength. So we could have balanced it up, in my opinion, better. What has Ole done is gone with only 1 player played against Leicester who played in the first team against Villa, which was Mason Greenwood. So it was, on paper, a particularly weak team. Although I've got to say, particularly in the first half, I thought we played quite well. I was very, very impressed with Ahmad wide on the right. Very impressed. So much so that he played that well in the first half, especially, that I wouldn't have bothered me if he'd have been playing in the first team as a first choice player. It really wouldn't. He was perfectly fine. Alanga on the other side, not quite as sharp as Ahmed, but he looks a player, plays with his head up, he passes it well, he's always looking to give that ball. Ahmed seemed to have a bit of a trick on him, and he also had that little bit of speed to get away from players at times. 2 or 3 times he looked really sharp. Alanga, it's his first game in the first team. Not quite as impressive, but I'm impressed with his calmness, his coolness, the fact that he's looking to pass it. His touch looked good, but he just didn't quite have the same speed or strength, perhaps, that even though he's smaller than Ahmad, he got knocked off the ball a couple of times, a little bit too easy, Alanga. But still, impressed with him, quite pleased with him, over the moon with Ahmad. So, Ahmad could have had a game in one of the games, but with 5 of the first team players playing, it could have been so much different. But does Ole immediately think to himself that he wants to play a full strength team against Liverpool? Is that a possibility? I would hate to think. I mean, look, as a fan, as a normal, regular match-going fan, loads of United fans will say, oh, we want to beat Liverpool, we don't want Liverpool getting in the top 4, but we want, in my opinion, we should really be trying to win that game against Leicester to keep ourselves in with look, it's just a mathematical chance, but still be in with a mathematical chance of winning the league. There's only three games left. We've got 3 games left now, and City have got 3 games left now, and they're 10 points in front of us. It still would have been a mathematical chance if we'd have won and then obviously beat Liverpool. I would have picked a team to try to win against Leicester and then picked a team to try to win against Liverpool. That's what I would have done. Obviously, Ole has picked a completely understrength team against Leicester, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a full after the Liverpool game Thursday. We don't play till next Tuesday, so I think we will see more or less. Obviously, Maguire's injured, but it'll be more or less a full strength team against Liverpool. No guarantees we'll beat them though, even with a full strength team. Now then, the people that are complaining, I mentioned earlier, I've even heard a West Ham fan this morning. Again, no disrespect to West Ham, but I've heard a West Ham fan, harbouring hopes of getting into the Champions League and complaining about United and saying United should be docked points and one thing and another. But when you look at the table, don't forget, it's not just West Ham, by the way. West Ham, Spurs and even Everton. I mean, get this. Everton have got 4 games left. Everton can get to 67 points. Everton can, and they haven't got any of the big clubs to play. They've got City on the last day, but City have won the league already and will have a Champions League final to look forward to. If they can win the next 3 games, Everton, they go to City on the last day and City won't be too bothered about it again. Everton can get to 67 points. Even though Leicester have beaten us, they're on 66 points. Now, Leicester have got to go to play Chelsea away. Obviously, Chelsea, make no mistake, Chelsea are still not guaranteed top 4 themselves. They're going to want to win that. Leicester on the last day play Spurs. So Leicester have only got 2 games left, Chelsea and Spurs. It's easily feasible that Leicester finish on 66 points. Which is what they're on now, easily feasible. Even Everton can get to 67. It's still mathematically possible for Everton. They'd have to win 4 games, Everton. They've got 4 to play. Leicester have only got 2 to play. But it's still mathematically possible for Everton to finish above Leicester. So it's not just, like I say, I heard a West Ham fan on the radio this morning complaining about it. Now, West Ham are on 58 points, but they've only got 3 to play. Everton, 3 points behind West Ham with a game in hand on them. Liverpool, here's the main point. Liverpool are only 1 point behind West Ham with a game in hand. So, and Liverpool also, I can't remember all the fixtures, but they've still got to play West Brom. They've still got to play Crystal Palace. Again, I always say there's no disrespect to those teams, but Liverpool have got 3 winnable games left after United. The West Ham fan who's complaining about it, if Liverpool beat us on Thursday, they will go above West Ham They'll be 2 points clear of them and will be favourites, red hot favourites, to finish above West Ham in the league. So obviously that gives them much more of a chance of qualifying for the Champions League. Not just finishing above West Ham, but qualifying for the Champions League. It's one more team that are above Liverpool, who are on 57 with 4 to play. Liverpool can still get to 69 points, 69 points. Liverpool can still get to 69 points, and Leicester are on 66 points. Leicester have got to go to Chelsea. I know you can't just assume this, but if Chelsea beat Leicester, Leicester would need to beat Spurs, not just draw with them, they'd need to beat Spurs on the last day. They need to beat Spurs, so it's proper open. Now, getting back to the West Ham fan complaining about it, if United would have gone with I don't think people would have complained if we'd have gone with a half-strength team against Leicester and a half-strength team against Liverpool. But if you go with a half-strength team in both, I mean, we might lose them both anyway, don't get me wrong. We could go with a full-strength team and lose them both. But if we go with a half-strength team against Leicester and a half-strength team against Liverpool, we could easily lose both games. We could easily lose both games. So I'm now talking the way opposition fans should be looking at it. At least we're giving ourselves a good chance of winning one of the 2 games. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I think it's for obvious reasons, Ole's chosen the Liverpool game to go with a stronger team. So he could have gone with 2 half-strength teams and perhaps lost both games. But now he's gone with a weaker team against Leicester, which has lost, which everybody expected him to lose. Against Liverpool, we've now given ourselves a chance of winning that game. If we beat Liverpool, they remain 2 points behind West Ham on level games. If we beat Liverpool, it gives West Ham a great chance of finishing above Liverpool. So, like I said, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If we beat Liverpool, it's going to be a massive boost for Everton, for Spurs, for West Ham, and for Chelsea. Now you can't have it all ways. If we'd have played a half team against Leicester and a half team against Liverpool, we might have lost both games. The substitutions last night, obviously Cavani came on. We were trying to get back in it, by the way. Anybody who's watching this who's a fan of one of those clubs, Ole did try to get back in the game. He brought Cavani on, who obviously regularly comes on as a sub and gets us back into games, or even scores winners. Scored twice as a sub once at Southampton. So Cavani does get goals whether he starts or comes on as a sub. So he made that effort. But I was interested to see the other substitution. Marcus Rashford coming on the left wing. I've checked the bench. Paul Pogba was on the bench. And I will never know whether he's got a knock, whether he's resting something to make sure that he's fit for Thursday, and maybe he wasn't quite fully fit. But then again, they're forever saying that Marcus has got shoulder injury, a back injury, an ankle injury. I read a knee injury the other day. So we're ever saying that Marcus has got knocks. But what I don't get is this. Even the most ardent Marcus Rashford fan, there might be the odd one goes against me, but even the most ardent of Marcus Rashford fans will appreciate that we've been playing better football since Pogba started playing wide on the left. As I've said many, many times on the shows on the United stand, we need to start playing better football. It doesn't have to be a player who's actually scoring the goals or even making the goals. We just need to start playing better. And a quick look at the league fixtures that we've played since Pogba started, because he don't play every game like he didn't play last night. I won't count last night because it's not fair. When you're comparing the performances of the teams, it's unfair to use last night's game against any player who might not have played or who might have played. But Paul Pogba played against Villa wide on the left. We won 3-1. He played against Burnley wide on the left and we won 3-1. And he played against Spurs wide on the left and we won 3-1. Now, those are the only league games that he's played wide on the left since we've started to use him wide on the left. Because it isn't that long ago. We've played 2 other league games before the Leicester game since he's been used wide on the left. But he didn't play against Leeds, where we drew 0-0. And he didn't play against Brighton, where we won 2-1 with something like an 83rd minute winner or something. So it's not a big sample size, but people generally are looking at the way United are playing and saying that they're playing better. Most people are agreeing with that we're playing better with Pogba on the left. And the results would suggest that. A 0-0 draw with Leeds without him on the left, a 2-1 win against Brighton, and then 3-1 wins, more comfortable victories, scoring more goals. In fact, in the league, we've averaged 3 goals a game. Think of it this way. It's only 3 games, I know that, but like I say, we're playing better. We're averaging 3 goals a game with him playing on the left in the league. It's only just started, so we can't go back further than that. And then we've drawn 0-0 with Leeds and beaten Brighton 2-1. So we're averaging 1 goal a game in the league games where we don't use him on the left. Now then, what did Ole think last night? Like I say, we don't know if he's carrying a bit of a knock and didn't want to come on or was... Look, if he's sat on the bench, he should be ready to come on. Let's put it that way. He sat on the bench. Pogba was on the bench. We needed a goal back and he brought Marcus Rashford on the left, which Marcus Rashford's favourite position, I think, is wide left, and he also scores goals from wide on the left. But if it was Ole's decision to bring Marcus on wide on the left because he thought he might get a goal, what's his actual thinking there? Or does Ole actually appreciate that we're playing better with Pogba wide on the left? Does he appreciate, like I've just pointed out, that we score more goals? We seem to be scoring more goals. Like I say, it's a small sample size, but it's a start. It is a start. I've been saying for ages, we need a better player on that flank. We need to play better. We need a better player there. Pogba's a better player, and we are playing better, and we are scoring more goals. He doesn't have to be scoring them, doesn't have to be creating them. It's just that we're playing better and more chances come around and we score more goals. So when he was making his substitution last night, did he think of that? Because what I would have done, from what I'm seeing, the way we play when Pogba's wide on the left, I would have brought Paul Pogba on. Or was Ole's thought process, I'm going to bring Marcus on because he's more likely to score? Because if that's what he thought, it's not the right way to think. The right way to think is we are playing better when that player plays, and that gives the team more chance of scoring. By bringing Marcus on, you're bringing a player on who you're pinning your hopes on. You're pinning your hopes on him actually scoring the goal. That's what you're doing. Here's a player who I think can score a goal. I'm putting him on the field. It's not the right way to think. We're playing better with Paul wide on the left, and to try and get back in that game last night, would have been better served to bring in Paul Pogba on wide on the left without any shadow of a doubt. Like I say, maybe he's got a knock. Maybe he didn't want to use him. I don't know. But it seemed strange to me. Definitely seems strange. So we've got the Liverpool game tomorrow. I do think it'll go back to as near as what he considers to be his strongest lineup. I was quite pleased with a few of the players, by the way, yesterday. I think the back four was a little bit dodgy. I don't think Tuanzebe or Bailey, the passing isn't quite good enough. They did give it away 2 or 3 times, but I'm not talking about just giving it away. Their actual passing isn't quite crisp enough. I don't think we get enough good passes into the midfield players. I think Lindelof passes it better. I've said all along that people are still arguing with me at times that Bailey's our best centre half. He's got certain assets that maybe are better than, he's a bit quicker and maybe a bit stronger than Lindelof, a bit quicker than Maguire. Obviously not stronger and not better in the air than Maguire. But his passing isn't quite good enough, I don't think. When I watch Bailey play, basically I see an accident waiting to happen. I really do. And I think Axel, pretty similar. Our best 2 centre-backs are Maguire and Lindelof. So I wasn't happy with the centre-back pairing. And then Williams at right-back, by the way, his passing was even worse. Of the back 4, on the ball, they all defended fine. This is what I'm talking about. All defended fine, got stuck in. You're winning tackles, winning headers, absolutely fine. But on the ball, for me, of the back 4, only Telles actually played pretty well. Only Telles. And Telles isn't my favourite player either, obviously. I'd love to have Luke Shaw playing in that position. So back to the Liverpool game. But talking about last night's game, I was well pleased with Matic's game. Watching him play compared to the 2 midfield players who are normally playing there, it's like watching a Rolls Royce instead, bringing a Rolls Royce on. It's just different class Matic to me last night. And I was well pleased with the 2 wide players. And it was also nice to see Van der Beek and Mata both get a game. Played some decent stuff, but obviously so rusty. Ole's not getting that right. They're not getting enough game time. You can't expect them to perform miracles when they're playing so infrequently. Matter especially never sets foot on a field. He rarely gets 5 minutes, and then he gets a full game against a really good team. So it's what can you expect? So I wasn't over the moon with Mata's performance. He's decent, and the same with Van der Beek. I think Van der Beek, a few loose passes, but you can see that he's got it. And I'm not expecting miracles from him. And, I'll defend him to the hilt, because what I will say, he's not playing enough. He's bound to be rusty, and then as ever, as I always say, he's getting a game in a team where we've made loads of changes. Make no mistake. I mean, okay, Maguire couldn't play last night. If our back four last night was Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Bailey and Shaw, everybody else would have played a little bit better. Everybody. It just ups everything. When you're stronger, the whole team, it affects the whole team. So if we'd have been a bit stronger, it would have helped the other players. So not only are they getting a game, I'm talking about Van der Beek and Mata, not only are they getting a game where there's loads of changes, 10 changes, so it's not a settled team and it's not a particularly strong team. That makes it more difficult for them. And then on top of that, you're playing also against a really good team. I mean, we could have I won't mention any names of teams, but we could have turned up with that team, maybe in a Europa League side with that exact lineup last night, and we might have won. But obviously against Leicester, it's a different kettle of fish. They're the top side. So for the Liverpool game, I think we'll be back to, it'll be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof. I think it'll be Bailey. There wasn't much to choose between Bailey and Tuanzebe last night, but I think it'll be Bailey. He's like the next one in the pecking order. Luke Shaw will play. I think Henderson will come back in goal, by the way. It'll be McTominay and Fred. Neither of them got on the park last night, so it'll be McTominay and Fred. Bruno will come back in. Bruno came on as a sub. I think Ole's got the wrong idea. He's bringing individuals on who he's expecting that individual to make the difference. It's the wrong way to think. We need to be passing the ball around better and hoping that the team can play better to make the chances. Marcus ran into trouble 2 or 3 times. He's only on the pitch, however long, 15 minutes. Bruno, again, too sloppy. In as much that he's got the ball and he wants to make that opening. He wants to make that. So he's knocking balls over the top and the keeper's getting them dead easy. Rather than wanting to make the opening, give it out wide. Let's get the ball in from wide and you get yourself in the box coming in to try and pick up the bits and pieces. So all his substitutions last night, for me, had the wrong idea. He's putting players on, and a lot of fans will think like this. Probably 90% of fans will think like this. He's putting players on, and he's hoping that individual not just makes the difference. I know one individual can make a difference, but that individual's actually going to score the goal or going to make the goal. I heard the commentator saying, he's brought this player on, he's scored so many goals. He's brought this player on, he's scored so many goals. It's not about that player scoring the goal. You need the team to start playing better. When you bring your substitutes on, like I've just spoken about Pogba. Pogba's not scoring loads of goals, but we're playing better when he plays, and the team is scoring more goals when he plays. So bringing players on because a winger, especially, don't get me wrong, bring a striker on if you've got a goal-scoring striker, that's different kettle of fish. He's got to be in the box trying to sniff chances out. That's different to a winger or a midfield player. Bringing on a winger or a midfield player because you think that individual is not make the difference, it's fine making the difference, but if you want that individual to either score or make the goal. That's not the right way to think. It's not the right way to think. So I wasn't happy with the subs, but Bruno will come back in at 10. Cavani will start tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure of that. Pogba will start on the left, and Rashford will start on the right. So I think it'll be, just to recap, it'll be Henderson, it'll be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Bailey and Shaw, it'll be McTominay and Fred, it'll be Bruno at number 10. It'll be Marcus wide on the right, it'll be Pogba wide on the left, and Cavani at number 9. That's what I think the team will be tomorrow night. I'd love us to win it. After that, we've only got Wolves to play and Fulham to play. I'd like us to finish second, but I'm not too bothered about the games after the Liverpool game until the Europa League final. So I do think after that Liverpool game, we will see players like maybe Juan Mata and Donny van der Beek getting a little bit of game time. So that's that. Be back for the Liverpool game tomorrow. live. It's 8 o'clock. Is it 8 or 8? I think it might be 8:15. But either way, about an hour before kick-off, we'll be back live tomorrow before that game. I hope you've enjoyed that show. If you've enjoyed that show, please subscribe. Please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody. Keep stum.